hope you're enjoying this meeting series thus far. Please join me now in welcoming our next speaker to the podium, Crystal Patel. Crystal is the owner and founder of Clinical A's Cosmetic Clinics in Melbourne, where she has clinics both in Carlton and in Ballarat. Crystal is also the proud owner of 7 Cutera systems. She's been a Cutera customer since 2015 and currently owns 2 Xeos, 3 XLVs and 2 Enlighten 3 platforms. Crystal is a registered nurse and has 17 years experience in the cosmetic industry and is also a clinical trainer for Cutera. She operates multiple Cutera devices in the clinics, and tonight we'll be talking specifically about her experiences with the Enlighten 3 and the unique 670 wavelength. Please join me again in welcoming Crystal Patel.
Hi there everyone, and welcome to the Cutera webinar series. My name is Crystal, and today I'm going to be taking you through how to combine various technologies to optimize clinical outcomes. So I'm actually based in Melbourne. I'm lucky enough to have 2 clinics, one in beautiful Carlton and one out in regional Ballarat. And so over the years, we've accumulated a lot of devices, but I'm going to mainly be talking to you today about the Cutera devices that we have and how we use these to get the best outcomes by combining different treatments together. When you are looking to add a device into your clinic, the most important thing I feel is to actually have a look and see what sorts of things you're presented with clients. So I'm going to take you through the sort of things that we tend to get a lot. Melasma we're seeing more and more of, as I'm sure all of you are, and treating this can be very, very difficult. So we use a lot of different techniques to treat this, but mainly using our PICO device, which I'll talk to you a little bit more about. We tend to see a lot of lower Fitzpatricks with pigment concerns, higher Fitzpatricks with pigment concerns. We do get a lot of men across both of our clinics, but vascularity is something we see a lot of as well. We get a lot of clients who are a bit older who are concerned with lines and wrinkles, but are also quite concerned with the sun damage that they've accumulated over the years. We see a lot of acne, and now more than ever, a lot of adult acne. We tend to work a lot with internal health as well to treat this. A lot of rosacea, and we also get clients that come in that just want to maintain the health of their skin. They're pretty happy with the way their skin looks, but they just want to continue that. So with so much variety, there just cannot be a one-size-fits-all. So one device to treat everything, unfortunately, just doesn't work well. And so I think looking at all of those different things that we see in clinic is working out your chromophores and then the wavelengths that are going to be best suited for these. And that will help you decide on what device is going to be the most suitable for you. I really like this picture here, as it actually shows you the different wavelengths and also the depth of penetration, so you know the target chromophore and what it is that you're going to need to select to treat that. So as I mentioned, we've got a lot of laser devices across the 2 clinics, but my Cutera journey started in 2016 when I bought my first Xeo. For those of you that have a Xeo, you would know exactly what I mean. It's an absolute workhorse, and you can actually do a little bit of everything on this device, which is why it makes it so fantastic. And even to this day, with all the devices that we have, we still use our Xeo a lot. I absolutely love the IPL handpiece on this device, and I tend to use it quite a lot. So we were noticing that we were getting a lot of vascular in clinic, and so we really had to look at a device that could treat vascularity exceptionally well, and so we opted for the XLV. There's obviously a lot of other devices, competitive devices out there, and we made the comparison. We found that the XLV definitely gave us everything that we needed, and so we went with that. Then we were finding we were getting a lot of pigment. And so yes, as well as the Zeo can treat pigment and so can the XLV, we were finding we were just getting some that just were not budging all that well. And so needing something to treat pigment a lot better landed us with the Enlighten 3, and we've never looked back. It's probably been one of our biggest financial investments, but it's something that we use all day, every day. And so it's made the purchase worthwhile. We then decided to purchase another XLV. We do a lot of Genesis across both of our clinics, and when you compare the Zeo and the XLV, the main difference with Genesis is the Zeo gives you a 5 mil spot size and the XLV gives you an 8 mil spot size. So with the Zeo per zone, you'd be looking at doing roughly about 2,000 pulses per area. Whereas with the XLV, it's about 1,000 pulses per area. So the treatment times are reduced quite significantly and with how many we do, we found there was a real need to upgrade to that for us. The other difference with it is the handpiece. So the handpiece on the Zeo can be a little bit heavy. So if you're doing a lot of Genesis, you find by the end of the day, your arm can be a little bit tender. So the handpiece with the XLV is as light as a feather. We then decided to purchase another XLV, and then we also purchased a Enlighten 3 for our Ballarat clinic. So what do these devices actually give us? So on the Zeo, as I mentioned, you've got the Limelight or IPL handpiece, and it gives you the 520, 560 and 580 nanometer wavelengths. And so to treat your reds and your browns, it works fantastically well. You also have the YAG handpiece, which is great to do facial vessels and also leg vessels, but you've also got the option to use it as a micropulse for your laser Genesis. And then there's different handpieces that you can add on, and the one that we decided to add on was the 2970 erbium YAG, which is your resurfacing wavelength, known as the Pearl for Cutera. And then the XLV, so you've got the two handpieces. You've got the CoolView handpiece and you've got the Genesis handpiece. So the CoolView gives you your two wavelengths, your 532 and your 1064, and then you've got a separate Genesis handpiece. And the main difference I find with the XLV and the XLV Plus, which we haven't upgraded yet, but are definitely going to be looking at doing so, is with the XLV, when you do a global treatment, which means you're treating a big section or the whole area, you are given a 10 mil spot size. And what we find is the downtime can be a little bit significant. Normally 2 to 3 days, the clients do tend to be quite swollen and quite puffy. So patient selection is really important, but also trying to find the downtime for them can be a little bit tricky. But with the XLV Plus, you actually get a 16 mil spot size. So that cooling that you get is actually a lot more. And so the downtime, we've been told, is little to none, actually. So we're very much looking forward to introducing the XLV Plus into our clinics. And then the Enlighten 3. So what makes this so unique when you compare it to other PICO devices is the unique 670 wavelength. So you have the 532 and the 1064, but then additional to that, you've also got the 670. So to treat all in colors, amazing for tattoos, but also your Fitzpatrick's, you're able to treat all Fitzpatrick's with benign pigmented lesions. The other additional handpiece that you get with the Enlighten 3 is the fractionated handpiece, so the micro lens array, which allows you to do the PICO FX, which is amazing for fine lines and wrinkles and great to treat acne scarring as well. Now, if you wanted to learn a little bit more about this 670 wavelength, I actually did a webinar last week specifically on this wavelength, so be sure to check that one out. Now, as mentioned, looking at the different conditions that you are faced with in your clinic and, working out where in the skin it is that you need to penetrate will allow you to work out the wavelengths really efficiently. And this diagram here just shows you that. Now, the other thing that we find a little bit challenging at times is managing client expectations, their wants and their needs. And so I'm going to take you through the things that we tend to be faced with in our clinics across both clinics and how we manage these really well. So little to no downtime. I think gone are the days of your 7 to 10 days downtime. Clients just don't have that time anymore. And so, normally the most that they can tend to give you is a couple of days. They would like incredible results with very few treatments, little to no pain. Filter-like skin. For those of you that did watch my previous webinar, I spoke a lot about the fact that we are a no-filter clinic. I think managing clients' expectations with social media these days is very challenging, and so it's something we are very proud of, that we don't put any filters on any of our photos. So when clients look at our work, they know the sorts of results that they can expect to get when they come in to see us. Cost effective, little to no risks, and obviously highly trained and qualified staff. And so this is something we take very seriously across both of our clinics. We do a lot of regular in-clinic training. Now, this is a photo of my beautiful Ali, who works in our Carlton clinic, and she also manages our social media. And I think she's naturally stunning, but I played around with some Facetune and changed a few things about her. And the reason I chose to show this to you is these are the sorts of things that we tend to be faced with on social media, and it's why we don't use any filters on our photos. So how do we manage these expectations? So with little to no downtime, it's ensuring that they are prepped accordingly and understand what the outcomes are going to be. So what I mean by this is ensuring that they're using medical grade skincare. They've had treatments leading up to whatever it is you're planning on doing. So their skin is actually in the most healthiest conditions. So the results are going to be even better, but you find that the adverse reactions tend to be minimized as well. Having the options of various devices to suit their needs. So obviously if they can't have the downtime, if you've got options where you can actually combine devices, you might still get a similar outcome, but with much less downtime. Incredible results after few treatments, combining modalities to address their needs in fewer sessions. So if someone comes into the clinic and they're not able to come in continually, trying to address all of their needs in one tends to work really well for us. So for example, they might come in and have a few vessels around their nose. They might have a little bit of redness on their cheeks. They might have a little bit of acne on their chin, and then some pigmented lesions on their forehead. I would treat all of that in that one session, and you tend to find that the wow factor tends to be even better for that client because all these things have been improved rather than just one. And showing them your own work of what they can expect, I think, does speak volume as well. So little to no pain. Treatments are very quick and very tolerable. We use cooling agents and devices in our clinics, but we don't use any numbing agents. Filter-like skin. So I think it's really important to invest in very good technology because this will allow you to produce those sorts of results. Discussing realistic outcomes with clients and setting those expectations from the very beginning. And I do find progress shots are really important. I think using good quality photos is very important. Photos can be subjective, I would say, because the lighting may not be the same, the positioning may not be the same, and it can actually make things look better or worse in some cases. Cost effective with drastic results. So having state-of-the-art equipment, I do feel allows you to achieve results far quicker. We do not have a cookie cutter approach in our clinic, so every treatment is individualized to that person and tailored specifically to them, their needs and their wants. And little to no risks. I think that if you're investing in technology that's very well engineered, the company has got a very good reputation, you will actually get this, ensuring your staff are also qualified, highly trained. So investing with regular training, case studies and conferences, as I mentioned, is something we take very seriously in clinic. So the reason I like to combine different modalities, I feel it does give me better treatment outcomes. The results tend to come with far fewer sessions. It is more of an individualized approach for each client, which is something we are all about in clinic. It makes the appointment worth their time. So people tend to just be very busy, and we do get a lot of clients that travel to us from afar, and so they're not able to come in quite so regularly. It allows us to also address a variety of concerns all in one treatment, as I mentioned earlier. Now, I'm going to share some cases with you specifically, and I'll take you through what it is I've actually done on the various appointments. So we've got Judith here, who's age 63. I, on treatment 1, have done a chemical peel on her. I've done a signature PICO treatment, which is utilizing the 670 wavelength on the Enlighten. And this treatment would take 30 minutes and the cost would be $700. Treatment 2, which would be a month later, was a chemical peel. I then used the 532 wavelength on the Enlighten 3 to spot treat any lesions that were still there. And then I did a PICO rejuve treatment over the top using a 1064 wavelength. And this was to address textural changes in the skin. And again, this treatment took 30 minutes at a cost of $600. So the device that I've used here is the Enlighten 3. And these are her photos after those 2 treatments. And as you can see, as well as the pigment improving drastically, her skin just looks so much healthier. And this is her. So fine lines and wrinkles improved really well. And now what I would do with Judith, we actually had started but then had to close due to COVID-19, is using the MLA handpiece to perform a PICO FX treatment. So I would be concentrating on areas like her lip and chin, around her eye area to help with that remodeling there for her. My next client is our beautiful Jess, who works in Carlton. Jess is aged 37. Now, to look at her skin here, you would think she hasn't really got a lot going on, but Jess tends to get quite a lot of hormonal breakouts on her chin and tends to be quite vascular. She flushes very, very easily. And so that was what I addressed for her. So what we did with Jess is I performed a chemical peel first. In our clinics, we would pretty much do a chemical peel on most of our clients, unless their barrier was impaired or there was other factors that we couldn't perform it, but generally speaking, we would do one on everybody. So we did a chemical peel. I did a full face of Genesis. I then did a half face cool view treatment, so using the 532. So I treated the cheek area, I did some vessels around her nose, and I also then treated some acne on her chin. I then put her under the LED, and this took 45 minutes at a cost of $600. So the device that I used was the XLV, but I combined the 2 handpieces, so the cool view handpiece and the Laser Genesis handpiece. And this is Jess after 1 treatment. So these photographs were done 4 weeks apart. And as you can see, quite a dramatic result with her vascularity. Now, if you have a look around her nose, yes, I did treat those vessels, but she's got some very, very fine vessels. And this is where also the XLV Plus is fantastic because it's got the dermostat handpiece on there. So for those really teeny tiny ones that can be a little bit tricky with the cool view handpiece, it works really, really well. And this is her again. Now, this is Mark, aged 53, as you can imagine, has never really done anything with his skin. And I think the results are great. I definitely think the results could be better. He is a male, he does work outdoors, you know, he can't put makeup on to cover up the downtime. So these are all factors that have to be taken into consideration when treating. So I actually spaced his treatments out over 3 sessions. So the first treatment we performed, I treated all of the larger vessels. So 30 minutes at a cost of $250. And then treatment 2, we've done some Laser Genesis. And so I don't treat down on the beard area, it's just the upper face. I then used the 532 wavelength on the CoolView handpiece on the XLV, and I treated some individual vessels as well as doing a full global treatment. So as I mentioned, this is when we actually treat the whole face. And then the time taken for this was 30 minutes at a cost of $500. Then I've got Mark in and we've done some IPL, and actually this really was the icing on the cake. I think it gave him such a beautiful finish to his treatments. 30 minutes at a cost of $300. So the devices I've combined in these treatments is the Zeo and the XLV. And these are his results. So again, you know, results I think are great. I would probably be getting Mark back in and going over that with the limelight again. If I had the dermostat handpiece, I think some of the finer vessels that are left behind would work really well with that also. And this is him here. Now, this is Jenna, age 25. Jenna has suffered for quite a long time with hormonal breakouts. And so what we did is a chemical peel. She's actually not one of my clients. She's actually one of Ali's clients. Laser Genesis, which we block out 30 minutes and a cost of $350. Treatment 2 was exactly the same. And then on treatment 3, we've started to address some of her acne scarring. So we've done a chemical peel and then a PICO FX on the Enlighten 3. So that's using the micro lens array handpiece at a cost of $650. And the time taken for that was 30 minutes. And her results are just fantastic. I think Ali has actually since gone back and done some more PICO FX to further improve that texture of her skin. But if you have a look on the inner cheek area there, you can see a really nice improvement with her pores as well. And then here having a look at some of that pitting with her scarring that she's got. And this is one of Taylor's cases. Taylor's one of our girls in Ballarat. This young girl is 24 and has suffered from redness, I think, as long as she could remember. And Taylor performed a chemical peel on her, some laser genesis, and the CoolView handpiece on the XLV using the 532, and has then put her under the LED. And so this has been 45 minutes. I'd probably allow 45 minutes to an hour possibly at a cost of $550. So the XLV is what we used for this particular client, but using the CoolView and the Genesis handpiece. And these are her results. So I would now be inclined to go back and treat her with a little bit of IPL actually. So for all that superficial stuff that's left behind, and the downtime obviously would be very minimal because the target's far less. And again, I think a little bit of the dermostat would work exceptionally well on this also. So in conclusion, I feel the best clinical outcomes come from the following: assessing what type of skin conditions you see in your clinic, and ensuring that the wavelengths that are required to best treat these are what I used. And so again, if you are new to lasers and you haven't quite purchased a device, this is something that I would highly recommend you look at from the get-go to ensure that you purchase the correct device for your clinic. Choosing great technology and the most appropriate equipment for best clinical outcomes, I think, is very, very important. Partnering with someone like Cutera has been fantastic. I think the clinical training that you get is great. The support that you get is fantastic, and their equipment is just well engineered and well built. Assess your progress. As I mentioned, I think photographs are very, very important to showcase your work and ensuring that you're actually on the right track. And I think clients often forget. They'll say, oh yeah, I think I noticed a bit of a result. And then when you actually show them, you know, the progress, I think that they are actually quite wowed with the results. And always keep learning. I think there's always new things, new ways of doing things, and learning from our colleagues. So education is a massive part of growth and improvement, and is something that's very, very important in my business. Thank you very much for joining me. I will leave you with this cute little photo of our newest team member, our beautiful little Lakshmi. She's 5 months old now, so she's not quite this small anymore. But the newest little addition is a Great Dane puppy. Now, if you've got any questions or you have any queries regarding any of the parameters that I've used, my email address is there, and feel free to follow our journey on our social media accounts. Enjoy your Tuesday, and I will hopefully see you all soon.
Pigment comes in all sorts of different colors. It comes in tattoo colors, it comes in skin colors, it comes in skin lesions. And so as physicians, we have to factor all that in. And what Enlighten gives us the ability to do is to sort of sort through that little array.
We can deliver what we promise. We can remove something from the skin that's unwanted and leave normal skin intact. With Enlighten, there's no hypopigmentation, there's no scarring. We can treat all skin types and deliver great results.
Enlighten stands out among picosecond laser systems because of the science and the technology that went into building the box. And so the engineers at Cutera have designed something that sort of fits what we need. We don't have a lot of paraphernalia, no hand pieces, no extra boxes. But in the box, which is really easy to use, they put what we needed in terms of wavelength, power, picosecond, nanosecond. It's just a great device, both in terms of its construction and the thoughtfulness that went into it to allow us to get the most out of the laser to treat our patients.
Great engineering, easy interface, reliable. They care about working with physicians, collaborating with physicians, making it work for your practice.
Cutera has advanced the field of tattoo in terms of its thoughtfulness and how we approach it, in terms of the science behind what a tattoo really is and what laser technology can do to help us clear it.
And the new 670 wavelength is ideal. It's right in the sweet spot for pigment removal. Cutera is out there at the front, pushing technology forward, pushing the boundaries, coming up with new and innovative ways to get the job done.
It's just an easy company to work with, and they do things the right way because they really want to put the right technology in your office to help you treat your patients.